Hey everyone, Mr. Hayden here. I wanted to go over a few methods that might be similar to ones on tomorrow's quiz on loops, conditionals, and strings. Okay, so the first method here is called, that I wrote, is called first n Fibonacci numbers, nums. So the Fibonacci numbers are a famous sequence of numbers where the first number is 0, the second one is 1, and then after that, every number is the sum of the two previous numbers. So it would go 0, 1, and then the one after that's going to be 1 plus 0 or 2, and then 2 plus 1 or 3, and so on. So this method has one parameter, an int parameter, and it's going to return a string that contains a list of the first n Fibonacci numbers. So what I did here is I made two int variables, one called previous and one called previous. So previous is going to be the second one back from the current one, and previous is going to be the one right behind the current one. And then I had a loop that goes from 1 through n. And in the loop, it says if I is 1, numbers plus equals previous. So the first time through, I is, or previous is 0, so we're going to get a 0, comma added to our list. Then the next time through, if I is greater than 1, it goes up to 2, then it's going to put in 1 as the second number. And then if n is greater than 2 and it keeps on going, what it does is it adds the two previous numbers, which will be stored in the variables previous and previous. It adds that next number that it just computed by the two previous numbers to numbers, and then it updates the values of previous. So it sets the second one back equal to the first one back, and then it makes the first one back equal to the current number. And then it moves on, and the loop keeps repeating that process. So in the end, you are going to end up with a comma on the end. So, but now that you know how to use substrings, you can just eliminate the comma on the end by taking a substring of the string from 0 all the way up through, but not including the last character. So the last character, remember, is always going to be in position numbers, the name of the string, dot length, -1. Okay. So if you run it, I think I ran it with n equal to 10, and here's what gets produced. There you go, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, which are the first 10 Fibonacci numbers. Okay, so the next method is a string method, and basically you are counting occurrences of a specific substring or two substrings together. You're looking for 1, 2 in the string, followed by some other character, followed by 4. So 1, 2, some character, 4. And the only caveat is you can't count any occurrences if the middle character is an X. Okay, so any other character except X, then you're counting 1, 2, that character, 4. How many occurrences of that there are. So what I did here is I started, instead of starting at 0 and going through the length of the string -3, I actually started at I -3 and go to the end of the string. But when I do this, I'm going to be looking backwards from where I is. So I'm going to be looking for the 4 in the I position. The 1, 2 is going to be in the I -3, I -2 position. So this is what that substring there is. Then this is what, the I position. I'm looking for 4. And then in the I -1 position, I'm looking for anything except X. So if the third character is not an X, the fourth character is a 4, and the first two characters are 1 and 2. And once again, I'm looking backwards, so I'm looking in for the 4 in the I position, and then the other ones before that. Okay, so if that's found, I increase count, and then finally I just return count at the end. Okay, and then finally I have one that's called double the S if no T. So this one, you're supposed to double every S. So you're supposed to return the same string, except with each S replaced by 2 S's. Okay, but the only caveat is you are not supposed to replace any S that occurs immediately before a T, in other words, is followed by a T, does not get doubled. So every other S does get doubled except for the S's that come right before the one S that comes right before a T. So this is in some situations like this where you're supposed to return a variation on the original string. Sometimes it's easier to manipulate the current string, and sometimes it's easier just to build a new string from scratch. In other words, to parse the string that is the argument for the parameter and, build a brand new one based on the characters in that one. So the latter thing is what I did here, and that's I made an empty string, and I'm going to go through the existing one, and based on what I find, I'm going to add either an S or 2 S's or some other character. So as a result, all I need to do is I need to look at, so I'm going to look at the original string, and I'm going to go through one character at a time. But the thing is, I always need to look at not only a character in a given position, but in most cases, I have to look at the character that comes after that, the one in that position. So that means I have to stop early, because if I keep going all the way through the end of the string and then look for a T in the position after the last character in my string str, then I'm going to get an out of bounds error. So what I'm going to do, my strategy is going to be I'm going to stop early, one early, and then finally, after I have stopped, for the last character, I don't need or I shouldn't look in the position after it for a T, because there can't possibly be a T there. So once my loop ends, then I'll handle that last character. So here's my loop. It starts at I equals 0, goes through str.length -1, and not just I less than str.length, I plus plus. So it's going to start in the 0 position, and it's going to look for an S in the 0 position. And if it does not find an S, then it just puts whatever character it finds into the new string. So, and it's only if it finds an S that it has to make a decision whether to put 2 S's in or just 1 S. So in the else situation, it has found an S. So what does it do? It then checks to see if the character that comes after the S, so that would be in position I plus 1, is equal to a T. And if it's equal to a T, it just adds 1 S to the new string. If it's not equal to a T, which would be the else situation, it's going to add 2 S's to the new string. And then once the loop has ended, I need to handle the last situation, and the last character in the string. And once again, this would only work if the string has at least 1 character in it, because if I try to reference a character that is in the length of the string -1, that's going to be a character in position -1, which is going to give you an out of bounds error. So this is only going to work if I have at least 1 character in my string. And my code then says, okay, if that character is an S, then I add 2 S's. Otherwise, I just add whatever character is there. And then lastly, I return the new string. So let me just try running this, and we'll see if I think I wrote it correctly, but let's see. So I'm going to go up, and I'm going to call my method in right up here. So let me call it as, so I'm going to put something that is going to be, let's see, let's put S, 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 then H, S, T, and then J, 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 and then lastly S. Okay, so the last S should end up doubled. The first three S's should turn into six S's, and then the ST should just stay the way it is. So hopefully that's what we're going to get. All right, and sure enough, the middle S, because a T came after it, nothing is changed to it. The last S becomes two S's, and the first three S's become six S's. All right, so those are about the level of difficulty I would expect you could probably expect to see on the methods that you need will be asked to write tomorrow during the quiz. The other part, there might be some simple multiple choice questions that make sure you know how a while loop works, how and, or, and not impact conditional statements, and how dot equals works for strings, and finally how the compare to method works. So the compare to method is going to return a -1 if the first string that I'm comparing comes before the second. I mean, it's going to return a negative number, I should say. So if I say D dot compare to S, okay, and I run it, I'm probably going to get like a -10. Should print out about a -10 if I did this right, -15, yeah. So D actually comes alphabetically before lowercase s, so it's going to return a negative number, a negative int. And actually the int that it returns is how many positions separate those two characters in the ASCII table, which is actually how many letters are in between D and S. So that's the only one you may not have seen. And then also computing a random number. So if I, using the random class, not the math.random. So if I ask you to compute a random number between and including 85 and 100, including 85 through 100, well, that would be 16 possible random numbers beginning with 85. So I would say I'm going to cast an expression as an int, and I'm going to say math.random times, okay, I'm choosing from 16 possible numbers, and the smallest number that I want to choose from is, I said it was an 85. All right, so that's going to generate an 85, 86, 87, all the way up through and including 100. Now, it doesn't matter if I put plus 85 there or outside of the parentheses, either place will work. All right, so that's it. I hope this was helpful, and maybe somebody will watch this. If I get it up quickly, I have to compile it or render it and post it on YouTube, so it might not be until 7 that I get it up. Hopefully it'll be before then. All right, get a good night's sleep, and we'll see you tomorrow.